So in yesterday's video, I was telling you I got this welded up. Now I got it painted today. While I was looking, this one was completely snapped off, this bracket. You can see I got it welded. I'm not the prettiest welder in the world, but I'm betting anything it'll hold forever. And but when I was looking at this one, I didn't even notice this one. When it had a big gashing hole here, so I filled that in with weld. So that looks really bad. And then I went ahead and went around it. It's not terrible. Like I said, not a pretty weld, but it's holding. There was a low spot right here, so I filled that in. So, you know, I know that a lot of people said I wasn't supposed to weld unless I know how to weld last year when I was just I was making videos, trying to explain that I was learning something new. And apparently you're not allowed to make YouTube videos unless you're an expert at it, because then you get reported for misinformation and you don't know what you're doing and you better quit before you get hurt and all that. It makes no sense. Don't learn to ride a bicycle until you learn how to ride a bicycle. There are a lot of people like that in the world. It gets me to thinking about the Facebook groups I've been in. I've been telling you about this Facebook groups, and I'm in this lawnmower repair Facebook group, and I have no problems with people asking what a lot of people consider silly questions, simple questions, things that everybody should know. You'd think, like, my lawnmower doesn't start, there's water in the gas, should I change out the gas, that kind of. I have no problems with any of that. Until they say, I got a customer who brought a lawnmower over and it's backfiring. Okay, great. That means you know how to fix it because you're taking customers. And some of the silliest questions come from these folks, and I can't stand it. I mean, my head just explodes. Like, you're ruining the industry, the trade. Nobody wants to bring their lawnmowers to anybody because they're afraid nobody knows how to work on them. Especially when it's a backyard or a garage type of shop. They want these huge fancy buildings with lots of overhead, and then they can't figure out why it's so expensive. But it makes sense. I mean, how can you trust anybody that's going to charge you $100 and doesn't know what they're doing? But then you go over to the welding groups, and everybody needs to be an expert before you are allowed to weld. I mean, you're not allowed to show a picture of a bad weld. Bad as in bad in appearance. They attack you like you're a dog or a boy. They cannot stand a bad weld. So if an amateur comes in and he's trying to learn how, and he says, what mistakes did I make here? Not like one or two comments, not like a couple troll comments. Every comment underneath there will say, your mistake was you picked up a welder, something to that effect. Instead of just saying, oh, well, if you watch this YouTube channel, he's really good at showing you how to do things and he's an instructor. Nope, none of that. But then you go over to that lawnmower page, and if you say anything critical to a guy who has customers that should know what he's doing, if he's going to be taking customers, that doesn't. If you say anything negative to him, the whole group attacks you. Occasionally, you'll get a comment that agrees with you. Yeah, we should be charging consulting fees, that kind of stuff. Now, like I said, anytime there's somebody who's not claiming to be an expert, for customers, I'm more than happy to comment, help. I try to comment and help. So I don't understand the difference. Why the welding group, you're not allowed to do welding unless you're an absolute expert. But in a lawnmower group, an infant can get in there and say, hey, I got a customer, and everybody be like, okay. It is kind of strange to me. I really find it worrisome that so many people have customers that don't know how to work on lawnmowers. I guess with welding, either you know how to weld or you don't. You can't get a job with an employer if you don't know how to weld. With a welding employer, if you don't know how to weld, you're not going to get a job. You gotta have They're not going to teach you. You got to go to school, that kind of thing. But with lawnmower repair, well, how do I explain this? With lawnmower repair, everybody can open up their own shop and start collecting customers. So if you open up your own shop as a welder and you started welding on somebody's, I don't know, handrails or whatever you're going to weld, their gate, and you got these really bad welds, I would imagine some people are going to say, no, I don't want you as a welder. Now, somebody's going to say, well, aren't you doing welding for customers? And the answer is yes, I am. But I never go past what I think I can make work, is the best way to put that. Over the summer, somebody had a spindle bracket, you know, high RPM bracket break. And I didn't take that job. I thought it was well past my capabilities, and I didn't think it was going to be safe for me to weld that because it could break again. And I didn't want that responsibility, so I told him to take it. And the other thing is, you know, you needed some fabrication too, metal fabrication, and I don't do metal fabrication. But as far as putting a bracket on, I think that's just, you know, pretty basic. It's not a big deal. And you know, you put enough weld on it, it's gonna go. You know, my biggest problem isn't that I don't get enough weld on it, it's that I get too hot and I start poking holes in the deck. So, you know, I gotta cool it down. So I'm getting plenty of penetration with my weld. That's not an issue. Also, I do both sides. A lot of welders will only do one side. I do both sides. I go inside and out. So if I can't weld on both sides, like that spindle bracket, then no, I'm not going to weld that either. But last year I welded the truck. There was a one of those tie downs that broke off. Back before I got the electric winch, I was using a hand winch, and I need these tie downs to hold everything down. So I welded this, and it broke. I mean, just completely broke off. So I welded it, and it lasted the rest of the year. And the start of this year, no, I guess most of this year, I just put this on like in August, the electric winch, maybe August. So most of this year, this thing pulled all those lawnmowers up. But if you come over here, this one's starting to break, which hasn't been welded. So the weld is holding better than the original design. So, you know, I feel pretty comfortable with my welds. They can hold 800 pounds. If you ain't got loud pipes, you're not safe. I disagree. I think loud pipes scare people and cause the driver of the car to do bad things. I remember one time I was in St. Louis, traffic jam. I don't even know how he did it, the motorcyclist. Traffic jam, got off work, coming home on 70, going west on 70. I think it's out of New Florence. Motorcycle pulls up to me, next to me. I'm in my little Chevy Cavalier. I mean, it's a little 4-cylinder. It's not like I was racing or anything. I'm just trying to get home in the right-hand lane. And this, I think they call them pocket rockets or something. Pulls up to me and just hits it and does a wheelie. Scared the living you-know-what out of me. So much so that I jerked over because I didn't know what was going on. And I jerked over to get into the shoulder. And when I did, my rear wheels let go. And so now I'm doing this. So it made me completely unsafe, trying to avoid whatever I thought was getting ready to crash into me. You know, and the thing that bothers me about motorcyclists is that he hangs these signs up, watch for motorcyclists. And I agree, that's fine, sure, we should watch for motorcyclists. Yeah, absolutely, I understand they're harder to see. But it would be a lot better to see them, easier to see them, if they were being safe and following the law. And they don't. 9 times out of 10, when I see a motorcyclist doing, you know, out on the road, eventually I will see them do something horribly stupid and illegal. We was coming into town, and the gas station, a bunch of motorcycles were at the gas station. One motorcycle pulled right, but went into the left-hand lane and stopped and held up his hand. The other one made a left and went into the left-hand lane. So they're both in the wrong lane, both of them. And he holds up his hand. He stops me. I'm the first one up to him. He stops me. While about 50 motorcycles come out of the parking lot at the gas station. Now I know all the motorcycles go, yeah, they're trying to stay together. That's you know, they're in a club or, you know, whatever. And this was during motorcycle week. And I understand what they're trying to do. I get it. But you have to remember two things. One, being in the wrong lane, holding your hand up, hoping that the guy sees you, doesn't run over you, is unsafe. Maybe there's 3 or 4 things. 2, all the people that are pulling out, let's say I didn't see the guy, now I'm running over another motorcyclist who's making an illegal left-hand turn, you know, because they're pulling out even though there's traffic coming. They're not authorized to signal traffic. And 3, it's illegal. Everything they did there was completely illegal. Being in the left lane, trying to signal traffic, and and pulling out in front of traffic. You know, I got 50 motorcycles pulling out in front of me. I had the right of way. I was legally in the right of way. It was my lane. Oh no, it's bike week. We all have to accommodate the motorcyclists. No, be safe. If you want me to spend extra time looking out for you, because you want the freedom to ride around without a helmet on a death trap, I'll do that. I'll take the time. But on the other hand, maybe you should take the time to perhaps not break the law. The other thing is, you know, you blow your grass on the road. And I do. I take my lawnmower, when I get all the grass blown out onto the road, then I take my lawnmower on the road and I blow it back into the ditch. I try to accommodate the motorcyclist. And I did that. I blew it all back, but apparently I must have left some behind. You ought to watch out for that a-hole. This was on Facebook. You ought to watch out for that a-hole on such and such street. He blew his grass out onto the road. I'm like, you're talking about me. So I went back out there, and there was just a little bit. It's not like there was big clumps. I mean, whatever was left behind because the mower didn't blow it back over. I mean, that could have been anything. It could have blown out into the street by the wind. I don't know. So, you know, they're rude. They break the law, and they're unsafe. Not to mention, they're on a very unsafe piece of equipment to start with. You know, it's like, it's everybody else's fault. Guy gets a chainsaw, he's cutting it down, the big tree, and it lands on him. Well, it's not his fault. Property owner's fault. It was his tree, right? And that's the way these people think. I want my freedom to do whatever I want to do. Well, with freedom comes responsibility, and motorcycles don't have the responsibility. So, I don't know. I know that's my little rant, but last time a bunch of motorcycles passed through here, and I left it in the video, and I said, you know, that's just ridiculous. You can't even hear yourself think. Loud pipes saves lives. For who? The guy who's being irresponsible and loud and violating everybody else's rights? My rights? I would like to be able to make a video without a motorcycle drowning me out. It is my right to make a video. It is not your right to interfere with your rights end at my nose, but not with motorcyclists. With motorcyclists, they want everybody to accommodate them. If you're cutting grass, don't do it by the road. You know, the road crews will cut grass. And they were complaining about the road crews leaving grass on the road. Well, they use brush hogs. It's not like they're throwing their grass out on the road. They use brush hogs. Well, I mean, some is going to go on the road. And now we got to spend extra money. Blowers, they need blowers to blow that grass back. So now we got to spend extra money for tax dollars so the motorcyclist won't run over the grass and slip and fall. Well, I have an idea. This is a brilliant idea. I mean, like an imaginary, I mean, just an immense, bright idea. Slow down and watch for grass. Don't be doing wheelies on Highway 70 at 90 miles an hour and expect me to watch out for you. Why don't you watch out for yourself a little bit? Might help save your life. Instead of loud pipes saves lives, how about motorcyclists save lives? So if you'll click this up next box, take the video over to my other channel. Really appreciate it. Go check it out. So if I can inspire you to save your life so you can live your dreams. Thanks for watching.